to the North Shore, the beautiful Haleiwa town, where myself, Rocky Cannon, and Dave Bainey are awaiting the finish of this stand-up paddle World Series final event of the year, long distance racing, day number 1 from Turtle Bay Resort to here at Haleiwa, right in front of Surf and Sea. And Dave, it's a boiling hot day. Is that going to be a factor as they're paddling way out at sea with the big waves?
Yeah, you know, I always think the heat is always a factor, right? But, you know, many people are telling me that the conditions are very good. The wind's nuking, and even Tony Freitas was saying that possibly we might be getting some of the fastest times we've ever seen in this race. So the guys just took off. I can't wait to see who comes in.
Yeah, so the race has started officially just about 5 minutes ago. So they are underway. Just talking with Tour and Series Director Tristan Boxford, who is up at Turtle Bay, where they started just a few minutes ago. So they are on the move. And like Dave said, conditions are prime for racing once you get past the big waves, of course. We've had our very first real significant North Shore swell kind of kicking off the surf season. But always, it seems, this race kind of falls right in that zone where we don't know if we're going to have waves or not. And I think the last few years we've had waves every year.
Yeah, no doubt. All the racers kind of started filling in this week, and everyone's talking about the waves and the swell. And even a couple guys this morning, you know, at the coffee shop down there was saying, "Hey, man, do you know where we launch out of? Because I see waves everywhere." And I'm like, I think right over there where the waves are. So we'll see, you know, we'll see what happens.
So just to be clear as well, at Turtle Bay, one of the more popular starting points usually is in front of Ola Wilima Cove. But this year, it started on the surfing, the point side, the pool side of the hotel, which is fronting the former Hang Ten Surf Bar, now known as The Point, rebranded and renamed right there at the pool side. And we saw the racers lining up right on that inside. They'll be able to get straight out to sea from there and then make that left turn and head down the coast towards us here at Haleiwa. And like I said, it is blazing hot today. Good wind blowing, but there is barely a cloud in the sky. And so the paddlers will definitely have some heat that they'll be dealing with, along with the waves, and of course each other, where we got some heated rivalries building, especially on the women's side. It is up for grabs. We got Lena Ogaltis and we have Angela Jackson, both right there in the runnings. It's going to come down to this race and tomorrow's sprint races to determine the World Series Women's Champion. And on the men's side, we got Connor Baxter already wrapping up the World Series last month at Huntington Beach. And it's a battle for second. Kai Lenny's in the mix, Jake Jensen, a whole lot of names that are in that race for second.
Yeah, no doubt. The women's race is going to be real interesting because they are going to be crowning the world champion today. So we're going to be watching closely to that as you see some riders on the screen right there. I think this is the first time they've done the live feed from a boat, so this is pretty cool.
Yeah, so historic day here for the Stand-Up Paddle World Series. And big thanks to the Waterman League and also watermanleague.com for those of you watching on that website. We do appreciate it. And just to let you know, we are broadcasting for the very first time, as Dave just mentioned, from the boat in the water. So that may be the reason for a little bit of a blur that you see there, but you can definitely see a paddler stroking his arms off. That is Kai Lenny. And you see the waves he's already able to catch just starting at Turtle Bay. So there's going to be a lot of little runners and a lot of strategy coming down the coast.
Yeah, no doubt. Talking to a few guys before the race, they're really excited for this race, you know, claiming that the conditions are really nice, the winds are high, the angle's great, so I think we're going to see some fast times, and you know, it's all unfolding right now.
And you saw a jet ski in the frame. I'd like to thank Pohaku Stone and all the folks at Kanalu Water Patrol that have been a big part of this event over the years, and of course today, you know, very important that competitors safe. We could have carnage, waves, breaking leashes, boards, paddles, you know, with all the equipment that's involved, everything's got to be dialed in. As we check out another live shot of the race course from the water. Stu, the live shots from the boat. We'd like to thank our staff out there that is doing the hard work at sea and giving us this great footage. You see the mountains in the background with those 3 satellites up there that are a very popular view from Turtle Bay Resort. And it looks like they're about halfway, almost across the bay at Turtle Bay, maybe approaching the outside of Cavella Bay at this point. There's the hotel in view, as they are just about completely across that first bay. Now they're going to pass a few bays along the way, Dave, including Turtle Bay, Cavella Bay, and they're going to pass the world-class surf breaks. They're going to pass Felsyland, Sunset Beach, Rocky Point, passing Pipeline, rock piles, log cabins, past Waimea Bay, and all the way here to Haleiwa. You know, and I bet the waves are pretty good up there. And you might have some guys like contemplating, like, here comes a set. Should I?
Right.
But they are on racing boards.
Yeah, surfer instinct's taking over when they see the set wave. But I was wondering about that because there are those outer reefs and things like that that I'm not super familiar with. But do those come into like play? Like, do they have to look out for outer things like that, or are they farther out than that?
You know, all of these athletes are pretty knowledgeable of the ocean in general, but this is the North Shore. We're known for having waves breaking way out at sea and being very big. So I have not traveled up the coast that way, as I live right down the street here. So the forecasting, looking at Pua Point, how big the waves are, I think the swell has dropped significantly. So there may be a rogue outside wave at spots like Sunset or backyards that they would need to watch out for. But I think they're going to kind of get a feel for it, and the better wind is farther out, and you're going to be safe from the waves. So I think most of our athletes will be on the safe side and choosing that further outside line, not only for the wind, but to also keep them safe from getting hit by a wave. Because on a day like today, if a 6-foot wave, Hawaiian size, 12 feet, broadsides you on a race board, you're going to have a hell of a time getting back up.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, because I wasn't sure how... Yeah, I wasn't sure how close they actually get to, like, you know, second reef pipe or third reef pipe. Or they must be even further out there in the wind line then.
They are going to be quite beyond those breaks. And like I said, today it looked like the swell has dropped pretty significantly, so less of a chance of getting hit by one of those big outside waves. Now, if it was yesterday, definitely you would be taking a much further outside line. But today I would say there'd be, you know, 30, 40 yards outside. You know, they use the crowd too at the surf breaks. So they see the guy sitting farthest out, they're gonna probably take a 30, 40 yard mark outside that guy. So it's very smart to use the surfers that are in the water to kind of gauge where the biggest waves are breaking, of course. So we got an update for you that Jake Jensen is now in 2nd place. Mo Freitas is in 3rd, and Kai Lenny is in the mix as well.
I think Riggs is in 1st.
And I think Kai might be 4th, but we're getting word that possibly it could be Riggs Napoleon.
Sorry, who's in 1st? Who's in
taking the lead, but we're going to get confirmation on that. And it is Riggs Napoleon out in 1st place at the moment, Dave, and what an accomplishment that would be for young Riggs.
Yeah, I love Riggs, man, and you know, his time's coming. He's one of the younger bucks, and to have someone new in the race, you know, like Riggs would be awesome. I'd be stoked for him. He'd be super stoked, and you know, local boy, why not? That'd be sweet.
Oh, that would be awesome to see him coming up through the chute in 1st place. We're probably about 35 minutes away from our first finishers right here in front of Surf and Sea. We'd like to thank our sponsors, of course, Turtle Bay Resort, backing the Waterman League and the Stand Up Paddle World Series and World Tour for many years now in the running, and making it a point and a branding point of theirs to be part of the Stand Up Paddle scene, and we appreciate that very much. Also, thank you to Nash. We did a great talk story with the Nash team at Surf for the Bar on Wednesday night, and they've just been so important for Stand Up Paddle racing and surfing, and we'd like to thank them. Also Oakley, as well as Pacifico. Could use an ice cold Pacifico right now, Dave. I don't know where.
Yeah, 1 or 2 maybe.
But I'd also like to thank the Waterman League, of course, Mountain Dew Kickstart, as well as Nakamakai, And also thank you to Oakley Goose Brand as well. So a lot of great contributors helping to make this stand-up paddle World Series final. And there we have a paddler on your screen. It looks like Riggs. He's currently in first place. He's pounding away. You know, those little wave riding skills. You see him standing where he's actually riding a wave.
Yeah, Riggs looking really good right there, relaxed, you know, standing upright and just riding his glides. You can tell he's kind of feeling right now. He's in the zone and first place right now. So Riggs out in front. That's awesome. I want to know where Connor is too. I'm sure people are wondering where he is. So we'll try to get an update there. But right now it's Riggs. Second place Jake Jensen. Third place Mo Freitas. So we got a good little pack run right now.
Yeah, I'm just going to give a heads up to the beach here as well, as we do have some spectators starting to trickle down to the beach here, as they might have been aware of the start at Turtle Bay. You head down here to watch. So attention on the beach. Attention on the beach. We have had the race start at Turtle Bay. They are just about outside of, looks like they're approaching the Velzeland area, kind of getting around Cavella Bay. So out at Wailea Point in that area. They are way out at sea because it's large, but the wind is very strong, so they'll make fast time here, starting at Turtle Bay, doing the 10-mile and some change run down here to Haleiwa, finishing right in front of the beach that you're on right now. So it's going to be exciting. 30 minutes or so. We'll keep you updated when we can. It looks like Riggs Napoleon currently in first, Jake Jensen in second, Mo Freitas in third, and Kai Lenning in fourth at the moment. We'll keep you updated when we get them trickled into us, and we're also doing a live feed here on watermanleague.com. So if you're heading somewhere where you got access to the web or a computer, check out watermanleague.com and you can see the action. Commentating right now, we got live footage from the ocean. There you see two of our paddlers in frame, and when you see them relaxing like that, that is when they are riding those little wind-driven wave humps there that are, they call them bumps. They try to catch a bump here, catch a bump there. Here a bump, there a bump, everywhere a bump.
He's like second, third, and fourth. That was Jake, Mo, and Kai right there doing battle. Riggs further ahead, so that looks pretty fun right now. The conditions look really good. We're catching some bumps. You can see they're standing upright and gliding. You know, for the year, these guys are having a good time.
Yeah, and they're definitely going to lay it all on the line. There's nothing to leave out there. It's going to be just all out for the last event, the final long distance racing. I'm looking forward to tomorrow as well, because it's going to be short course right there at the point at Turtle Bay. So if you're watching on watermanleague.com and you want to see some great live action paddling, it is going to be so interesting with the swell, with the stakes that are on the line for the women's and for the men's, and could see some carnage. I mean, for great spectating. Perfect arena right there at Turtle Bay at the point.
Oh, for sure. Carnage guaranteed. I mean, if you've been here the last couple days, you know, lots of water swirling around, waves coming from all directions, and the swell's up. So, you know, no one has chosen to ride their race board out there this week, you know, so, but they have to tomorrow. So tomorrow's going to be incredible, and it's going to be a great weekend of racing.
I think that's Jake Jensen in our frame.
Paul Jackson.
Oh, sorry, that's Paul Jackson, Jacko.
He's in sixth.
The other Aussie. He's in 6th place, so rounding out our top.
Eric Terrian
Is Paul Jackson. In 7th is the Frenchman, Eric Terrian. They're all trailing our leader, Riggs Napoleon. And look at Paul go, catching another little bump right there. See some guys further on the inside. You're wondering what kind of gambles are being taken. And you know, Dave, I would say the hardest parts of this race are going to be right there in the beginning where they are right now, because there's nobody surfing there. It's very windy, very far out to sea. So that might be the most dangerous part, because it's hard to gauge where the waves are breaking there. Once you get to the famous surf breaks, you can use the crowd, like I said earlier. And then there's spots after Waimea Bay that are very sparsely populated with surfers that could prove to be tricky points to get through the waves and keep yourself safe.
Yeah, no doubt. And I mean, it's true. Some of these guys, like you're saying, are taking inside lines and outside lines, so it is going to be pretty interesting to see what line is faster. You know, you're always kind of gambling and making your best decisions. And you know, one year is the inside line, the next year is the outside line. So, you know, a lot of knowledge these guys have, and picking the line, and you know, has a lot to do with the results at the end. So we'll wait and see as this unfolds.
There you see a couple of paddlers in your frame, another. And so there are quite a few right bunched up right there. And there's a nice looking wave, almost catches the nose. It looks like somebody on a starboard.
Kind of looks like Zane.
It does look like Zane. He had reports possibly suffered some type of injury at Battle of the Paddle, but he looks like he's moving fine right there and riding that wave pretty well. So we'll get confirmation on that. But he's bouncing on that board like nothing's wrong, Dave.
Yeah, he looks fine to me. He looks like regular old Zane, amped up and going for it.
And you saw quite a few paddlers in the frame. That was Zane Schweitzer. And we saw Paul Jackson and the short course sprint racing. So I would venture to say that it won't be down to this particular race right here, that it will carry over to tomorrow because they're so close.
Gotcha. So whoever wins this race just has kind of the momentum in their favor for tomorrow.
The upper hand, of course. Exactly right. As we're looking at a couple of our paddlers panning now towards the back of the pack. This is something you don't want to watch that for too.
I'm gonna take some Dramamine.
Yeah,
right
you might need a little bit of motion medicine, but we'll keep you still and solid as a rock right here at Haleiwa. Dave Bainey, Rocky Cannon, giving you the live coverage from the Stand-Up Paddle World Series Finals, the final event of the year. It's been a great year. We've gone all over the world. We've had a European leg, 5 events in different European countries: Italy, France, Germany, I believe
Abu Dhabi, right?
Abu Dhabi, the Middle East, you know, Huntington, the U.S., Japan as well. So making a stop, one of our first stops in Asia, which was really cool. So it's been a whirlwind tour, literally, and finishing right here on the North Shore, kind of where wave riding and wave knowledge is capital and is home. It's only fitting that we have the finals here on the North Shore.
Yeah, it only makes sense. You know, Stand-Up World Tour, Waterman League's home base. Got to finish it off right on the North Shore for sure.
And we got Fiona Wild, who is in second behind Angie Jackson. So Fiona, the young up-and-comer, met her for the first time at Huntington Beach last month. Just really bubbly, talented, young. It's got the whole package for being a great future for stand-up paddle women's racing and surfing as well.
Yeah, for sure. And she just won a Female Breakthrough Award winner at the SUP Awards.
Oh, awesome.
And she's someone we haven't really talked about this morning, but she's from Hood River, Oregon, so she's kind of a downwind specialist in a way. So that's no surprise right there. I wouldn't even be surprised if she won. So Fiona Wild in second place right now, and that's solid. I love to see that.
Yeah, she's following Angie Jackson at the moment. You're looking at more paddlers in the ocean from the camera on board the boat. Out at sea, checking out this action here. Looks like that's Fiona Wild, right on cue.
The Wild Child.
And she's also lived in Mexico, so she is fluent in Spanish.
Nice.
That's what I learned last month at Huntington Beach. She was going to surf with the Mexican team, and I kind of was joking around like, oh, you got to speak Spanish, though. And she's like, and then she rattled off like 5 sentences like in perfect Spanish. I was like, okay, you definitely can. It was like, it was definitely a fun moment. And there's a nice little wave there getting caught. And another paddler further outside. So Turtle Bay is the official start point of the long distance, and it is the headquarters of the Waterman League and the Stand-Up Paddle World Tour and World Series. We've got a World Tour event going to happen later this month in France. I believe that'll be the finale for the surfing portion of the Stand-Up Paddle World Tour. But right now we're focusing on racing, and it is the World Series that is underway at the moment, the long distance racing from Turtle Bay to Haleiwa, 10 plus miles of open water racing on one of the most lines, beautiful stretch of beach in the world, and a lot of famous surf breaks along the way, a lot of tricky point roundings and crossings. And you know, Dave, it's going to be interesting when they get into here because there's no waves and the wind is offshore where we're at, so it's going to be flat water from here on in. I think this is going to be the burner part of the course.
Yeah, that's true. If we actually have real close, there's going to be a big old sprint at the end here. And be honest, I hope that happens. I want to see a sprint, you know. So potentially, you know, shaping up to be a great finish right here in the harbor.
You see that athlete catching a bump right there. That's Angela Jackson. She is leading the pack for the women's, but Fiona Wild is just about in frame. So she is not very far behind. And Fiona just has got Angela in her crosshairs, reaching down into her Hood River instincts and matching Angie stroke for stroke. So it is Rocky Cannon, myself joining Dave Bainey here at Haleiwa for the Stand-Up Paddle World Series. We're at the finish line and awaiting our paddlers
to board into a floating beer garden instead.
Awesome. And a little kid playground platform. So this area is very popular for stand-up paddleboarding because it stays sheltered. We're right next to a boat harbor, so you can see all these jetties that make up the Haleiwa boat harbor, and that blocks a lot of the big swell from coming in here. So it's been very, very popular the last few years, exponentially growing as the sport grows as well. Right here in Haleiwa is a fun place to do it. Of course, we've got a beautiful bay, Cavella Bay at Turtle Bay, that we use with tons of turtles for stand-up paddleboarding, and that also stays protected, and we paddle there year-round.
Yeah, Cavella Bay is awesome, so scenic, and just you know, you get to see the local land right there. And what a better way to check it out than on a paddleboard? Or you could do a horse tour, right? You guys do the horse tours.
Oh, we got horseback riding, helicopter riding, segways, golfing, tennis, surfing and stand-up, of course, and the beautiful new spa that you got to check out. You're going to score big points, I promise.
I just might do that.
And we're going to throw you to a short video, actually. We're going to take a short break from the live coverage and show you a video that highlights our champion of the Stand-Up Paddle World Series. Clinched it last month. And check out this vid of Connor Baxter. Baxter's championship season. Once again, the World Series racing champion for the Stand-Up Paddle World Series. Congratulations to Connor Baxter. And haven't heard his name mentioned today, Dave, so we're kind of wondering if he's even taking part, having clinched the series already and the championship. But we do have an update that Jake Jensen is in first. We have Riggs now down to second. Kai Lenny creeping up into third. And Mo Freitas, local boy from North Shore, is currently in fourth. And I got to imagine that's going to change quite a bit as they're battling down the coast.
Yeah, it seems like there's not a ton of separation between those top 3, 4 guys. So they're going to be going bump for bump. You know, someone's going to get a glide ahead, and, you know, it's going to shift for sure. So we'll see who's got the most, you know, gas in the tank towards the end. And we're going to go to another clip right here, right, Rocky?
Yeah, we've got Lena Agatis and Angela Jackson, their year leading up to right now, they're number 1 and 2, and there's in the racings that it's going to come down to this final event. So we're going to check out a short clip of Angie and Lena, and we'll be right back.
All-around paddler, good in the ocean. So yeah, they've been going, you know, battling event after event, and it all coming down to the last event of the year, which you can't have it any better other way, you know. So it's going to be a good racing from these girls this weekend, Rocky.
And looks like we have a video clip of Jake Jensen. He was a very, very extreme top finisher the last few years, and it's only a matter of time before he breaks through and ups his level. But we're going to check out this clip, and we'll be right back with some updates of this long-distance race of the Stand-Up Paddle World Series final. All right, so I hope you enjoyed that clip of Jake Jensen, the Australian, who has been in the top rankings for the last couple of years. You know, he's really a good guy. I can say, you know, a lot of these athletes, they're a class act. You know, this Stand-Up Paddle World Series and World Tour brings all kinds of countries together, countries that you wouldn't imagine you would have somebody involved in a board sport. We got Kasper Steinfath from Denmark. You know, we got a couple Frenchmen and Germans that are here competing as well. So it is really cool to see stand-up paddleboarding bringing the world together in that way.
Yeah, no doubt. And, you know, all those countries have like top racers and surfers now. So definitely it's spreading. Guys are getting into it and getting good fast. And, you know, Jake's one of those guys from Australia who's been super consistent. He's always right there. You know, it's like he gets third every time, you know. It's like Kai, Connor, and Jake. So for Jake to get second or first today would be awesome for him.
Yeah, and I believe he has won here at this Turtle Bay to Haleiwa long-distance race in the past for the Stand-Up Paddle World Series. So he's definitely a guy we're going to want to keep our eye on as they approach Haleiwa here at the finish. I'm Rocky Cannon with Dave Bainey. And we were with you at the last event at Huntington Beach. And we're with you this year on the North Shore for the finals. An exciting, hot day of racing.
Yep. This race, it would, you know, they call it the 7 mile stretch. Where does the 7 miles actually start? Because this race is 10 miles, right?
That's correct. The entire North Shore, actually, extending from Kaena Point to Kahuku Point. That it would be this direction would be Kaena Point, and driving this way, you'd head up to Turtle Bay, and then there's Kahuku Point. So from point to point, it's about a 45-minute solid minute drive. So the North Shore is very large. But the thing with Kaena Point and the beaches there, they face true north, so they do get a lot of onshore winds with our northeast regular trade winds. So the 7 Mile Miracle begins right around Velzeland, I would say, is a good point of starting with the quality, well-known breaks. There are other breaks in between, but Velzeland's kind of a landmark break. And you extend west towards Sunset Beach, passing Rocky Point, and it would extend almost to Haleiwa. From Velzeland to Waimea Bay is about 4 miles. So going 3 miles past Waimea Bay, you'd cover Chuns and those breaks. So that's right around the 7 Mile Miracle, and that's where you have just the largest concentration of quality waves right next to each other, phenomenally placed, miraculously, of course, miracle. And I'm really blessed to have grown up here.
Yeah, no doubt, because they always talk about the 7 Mile Miracle. So I wasn't sure myself. I always kind of maybe assumed it was maybe from Waimea to Velzeland, but then when you think about it, that's not that that long.
It's not quite
so
7 miles. Yeah.
Lonnie's and Jocko's and all that stuff would be in there.
Yeah,
so
you
that's
got
cool.
Alligator Rock in between there. You got Leftovers. All these are like lesser known breaks, but you paddle out on any given day and you'll get the wave of your life.
Yeah, and I mean Chuns is one of the most crowded spots, and it's down there, you know.
Yeah,
so.
and it's so much fun. I mean, it's like our North Shore Malibu, you know.
Yeah. Cool.
So that's a great question. And if you're planning a trip out to the North Shore, make sure you stop in at the guidepost at Turtle Bay Resort, where you can find myself along with a great all-star team that we have hired at the guidepost. We're beat concierge service at Turtle Bay Resort, guiding you to surfing, stand-up paddleboarding, all of your water sports, and of course all the stuff we mentioned earlier that we do, including horses, kayaks, helicopters, golfing, you name it. We pretty much got it at Turtle Bay, or we can find it for you right here on the beautiful North Shore. We got, the wind's not blowing right there, and then they'll pick it up again, but it definitely looks a bit calmer than when they started, and that's kind of the trend out. But I do have a couple of boards that I like to use, like you said earlier, putting the cooler on, putting the dogs on, getting the wife and kids out there, the four-legged kids anyway, and doing those kind of fun stand-up paddle adventures. But for racing, do you pack like ice cold water, or is it room temperature water? What's the best kind of recipe and temperature for water getting in you while you're burning all those calories?
Yeah, well, it's definitely a preference, right? A lot of guys just like a room temperature. I actually like it as cold as I could get. It just feels good,
Right.
But some people claim that if it's too cold, it kind of shuts down your windpipe or something like that.
Right. Well, you feel it sometimes when you take a big swig of something real cold.
Yeah,
it constricts you a little bit.
Definitely so. So I like it pretty cold myself, but most guys like it room temperature, and they all have their different kind of blends or electrolytes that they put in there. Some do carbs, some just do electrolytes, some are sugar-free, coconut water. So it's all kind of trial of what guys like to do.
And that's for hydration while en route paddling out on the ocean. A very important piece of equipment that all of our racers, I guarantee, are using today is that camel pack with the water or some kind of formula in there to give them the juice, keep them hydrated.
Yeah, and I wouldn't even be surprised if a couple of these guys had goo on board or something like that they take, for some calories after 20 minutes or 40 minutes, and for races, that does come into play, getting some calories and things like that. So whatever works for the rider, they test it out when they're training and they bring it into the race. So got some great shots right now, though.
So we got an update as they pass Rockpile Surf Break. It is Kai Lenny now in the lead, Mo Freitas in second, Jake Jensen has held on to the third spot, and Riggs Napoleon still in the top 4. But like we said, you know, the young Riggs needs to keep that fire going. And with these guys that are behind, that have been now taking the lead over him, I mean, it was great to hope and think Riggs would be there, but with the guys that he's up against, it's just so hard. And Riggs is so young. He's got so many years ahead. Kai and those guys are in their prime.
Yeah, no doubt. And I mean, you know, Kai being in the lead, he knows how to finish too. So it's going to be hard to pass him up. Not saying it's not possible, but, you know, he's used to that position. You know, some guys, you know, maybe get a little nervous or choke or whatever it is, but you got to think the veterans like Kai and Jake and even Mo now, you know, they're in a solid spot right now. And Mo's in a perfect position to strike, you know. So it'd be cool to see Mo win too. I mean, he serves Haleiwa all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be a homegrown victory for sure for Mo Freitas. And we'll see how that shakes down here in a few, because they are now moving outside of Keiki. So they're going to be hitting Waimea Bay soon, and that'll be kind of the sort of the halfway point, I would say, right around Waimea Bay, and heading here towards Haleiwa. There's a great shot on the water. A lot calmer now that they've moved towards the middle of the 7 Mile Miracle up around Turtle Bay, and those points is really windy stuff as it is the most northern point of Oahu. So they are closing in at Waimea Bay right now, just outside the bay. Now there's a pretty strong offshore breeze that funnels through Waimea Valley out to the bay, so we'll see how that affects the strategy and where the paddlers are going to take their course. Could create a little bit of a dead zone as well, doldrums, where a lot of paddling will take place, and they'll probably use up quite a bit of hydration during that spot.
Yeah, and just looking behind us here, you know, it does seem like it is a little windier here than where they are currently. So, like you're saying, there must be a different offshore breeze kind of coming around the corner for that wind at their back. Really good shots of Kai Lenny right now. You can see him right before he caught that bump. He's just hammering, and looked like he was kind of like a 2-board length lead, you know, kind of more into a 6 to 8 board length lead right now on Mo Freitas. So those little efforts, right, those little battles within the battle, Rocky, would make that separation as you see Mo kind of making a move now. So downwind racing's awesome to watch, and got to give it up to these guys for getting this live footage.
Well, like we said, historic day here at the Stand-Up Paddle World Series in the Waterman League for getting live coverage of a long distance from a boat, and we're not always privy to that view, Dave. So it's really cool to be able to see the action as Mo Freitas looked from Kai Lenny. So Mo Freitas now in the lead, and we saw that live action. Great shot there from Stu on board the boat from the Waterman League, and Mo Freitas just snuck past Kai Lenny. It was like watching NASCAR almost right there.
I mean, it's so cool to watch. You know, that's if there's any complaint of being a spectator in a distance race, you know, it's that you can't really watch the race.
Exactly.
But to have this footage right now, I mean, just 2 minutes ago we're talking about how Kai Lenny had an 8-board length lead, and there we go. There's Mo Freitas taking the lead right there on a couple bumps. This is super cool to watch, and this is live right now. So,
yeah, always that you are able to get so close to viewing the racers and their technique, the conditions, the elements they're dealing with. But thanks to the Waterman League and the great footage we're seeing from Stu on board that boat, we can be in the water with them, so to speak. It's going to be exciting when they come here to the finish here at Haleiwa.
yeah, and you can see the jet ski right there. I wonder if that is Mo's dad, Tony. I did see him this morning. He was going to go out on a jet ski to kind of help, you know, with the videoing and probably lifeguarding and that kind of thing. So that might be him, and guaranteed if it is, he's yelling, "Go Mo!"
Yeah, for sure. He's a very, very proud dad of Mo Freitas and of Marvin Freitas, young Marvin, getting his stand-up paddle career going in surfing and racing. And Tony was getting some coffee this morning at Turtle Bay with his life jacket on, sporting it in the lobby.
Only in Hawaii, Rocky.
Oh, yeah. So that was some pretty cool action from the ocean, Dave. And now we're back in our beach studio right here at Surf and Sea, awaiting the finish. They're just past Waimea Bay now. So we'll be seeing them coming around the point here at Pua in not too much more time.
Yeah, great footage right there from the boat. As we did see the move Mo Freitas made, you know, he came back from about 8 board lengths behind right before our eyes right there and pulled away, and is currently in the lead. You know, Kai's right there, but it was great to see that bump being caught. He looked like he connected 2 or 3 of them right in a row, and so is Downwind Racing. So that was awesome firsthand to watch that.
And so far, the North Shore swell we've had, the northwest kind of initial big swell of the season, has subsided from yesterday to today. It was solid 12 feet Hawaiian size yesterday, and that is legitimate. Got a few reports of confirmed big wave surfing happening here, and subsided a lot today. So we, on our screen, we've seen all of our athletes, all our racers in the clear from any waves breaking on them. So we were a little concerned about that before the race started, but as you saw on the footage, a lot of open water for them to navigate.
Yeah, the waves were actually quite large. I think yesterday caught people off guard. You know, Sunset Beach wasn't very crowded at all, and you know, a lot of people were down at Pipeline watching and surfing down there. So yeah, it was fun to be here at that time to get that first swell. I caught a couple waves at sunset, which was nice. And yeah, it is quite smaller today, but you know, it's Hawaii. You know, it could get big by tonight. So plenty of waves still out there, though.
That was our producer making a shirtless appearance, Christian. But we're going to go to a video right now to show you some stuff to keep you busy before we bring you more action and the finish here at Haleiwa. So check out this clip, and we'll see you in a couple minutes. just got an update. We got an update that Mo is in first currently, and it is Kai Lenny in second. I believe Rigglesworth and Napoleon has moved up into third. Jake Jensen now in fourth, Dave. And like we said early on, it's going to be a seesaw battle for that top spot. And it's going to come down to this flat section right here, a little bit of offshore, and it's going to be a total different race in this last few hundred yards right here.
Yeah, especially if the guys are close, you know, like Mo and Kai are. Sprint race will come down to the harbor right here. So I'm hoping Riggs keeps at it and catches up with those guys. I'd love to see Kai and Mo Riggs sprint off here in the harbor. That'd be sweet.
So we got Johnny DeCesare helping us with some camera work as usual with his great footage, and we're looking at his angle live on watermanleague.com. Looking at the jetty in the foreground, popular little fishing zone for the kids and everybody. And then beyond that, you see the second point. That is Pua Point, and that is where we'll see our paddlers start to come around. They have to be very careful coming around that point because of the breaking waves and because there are people surfing there as well. So taking the wide route, you know, might cost you some time. If you get lucky and cut through the crowd and catch a wave, that could really help your chances. But if you get caught inside and nailed and pummeled by a wave, it'll just pretty much put you out of the first place position altogether.
Yeah, I mean, just by looking at it, if you see him coming around the corner, it is diagonal through the lineup.
Right.
Have we seen riders in the past utilize that and catch a wave right there to their advantage or not?
You know, we usually finish at Haleiwa Beach, so it's a little bit of a different angle. So this year is just a little alternate route that we're using for the last stretch here. So if you look on the camera through our sponsor board here, towards Haleiwa Harbor this way is where we finished previously. So it's more of a straight shot across the boat channel from Pua Point. So that inside break doesn't really come into play. But finishing here at Surf and Sea, the angle is far more acute, I guess you could say. It's much more direct right at us here. So they will have to navigate through that surf break if they want to take the inside line and risk it, though. That's going to be the question. Is it worth the risk?
Yes, yeah. Just looking at it right from here, it's definitely, you could go the long way around, no worries, but it's much shorter straight diagonally through that lineup. And it looks, I mean, there's multiple peaks out there too, so
yeah,
you could be coming into another peak, and so that could be a lot of trouble. But I would think, you know, someone like a Riggs who has nothing to lose really, you know, he's in the front pack, and if I was Riggs, I'd go for it.
Because it could mean if he does it right, he could take that shorter path, avoid any, you know, the waves, and he could shoot straight to the lead and win his first long-distance race on the Stand-Up Paddle World Series. What accomplishment that would be for him.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting to watch, man. I hope someone goes for it. You know, my gut feeling is they'll probably go around, but you never know because you can go around that top peak.
Yep.
And then come in and get that
you can
small
see,
peak.
yeah, like
Yeah,
how
there it is
far
right
out
there.
those waves are breaking. So that out there is no picnic. That's quite a ways away from the camera. So those waves are considerably overhead, Dave.
Right. But you can see right there. I mean, if you want to cut it short, you got to catch the waves right through there, right around the tips of those jetties. So I would imagine guys would not go for that current peak that we're looking at. Go around that one, and on the inside, a little to the left of the camera, we can't quite see it.
And you said earlier, spot on, that a day like today, Puena's got a bunch of different little peaks. So you might think, oh, okay, I'm in the clear, and then another one, Phantom Peak, pops up ahead of you, and you're like, oh, I'm not on the clear. So
hey, and you can get dropped in on, too, because, I mean,
there's a surfer right there riding as we speak. So Pua Point, great for surfing, now coming into play as a racing venue in this Stand-Up Paddle World Series Finals, long distance, day number 1. And our paddlers, we're going to get some reports right now, Dave. You keep our folks entertained on watermanleague.com. I'm going to get a little bit of info, and I'll come back with a report.
Yep, for sure. Yeah, so we got the riders kind of creeping up on Chun's Reef. We would anticipate the wind to be picking up again at their backs around this point. So probably in the next 10, 15, 20 minutes, we're going to start seeing our first around this point right here. And Johnny will be on it. Johnny on the spot, as they say. We'll be getting the footage and the finish for everybody.
So just got an update, Dave, that the top competitors are outside of Chun's Reef at the moment. And Chun's, they'll probably be at Laniakea in a couple minutes, so that's pretty much the last leg of at least the well-known surf breaks that they're going to be passing. And then from Laniakea to Pua Point, it's kind of a no man's land. You've got the surf break, very rarely known as Blockhouse, a place we call Police Beach, where the police department uses as their recreation area, so it is closed off to the public. So it's a place where they filmed a lot of Lost episodes, but that is just right up the road here. So they're going to be, it's a little tough navigating there. That was the point I was going to get to earlier when we talked about places that are going to be more tricky than others on their trek downwind, down the coast. Of course, not many surfers on that first stretch going into Velziland, but once you hit Velziland, and you've got the crowd, the surf crowd to kind of navigate. But once you pass this last leg here, outside of Police Beach, nobody's surfing out there really, and a lot of random peaks.
Yeah, and as you see the live shot right there, that is Mo Freitas and Kai Lenny still duking it out front. And Rocky, it doesn't seem like the wind has stayed with them. You know, it seems a little slow, but still see some bumps out there. You know, still getting some glides.
I think they're coming into a part where it's starting to pick up a little bit again, because it did have that spell where it looked like they're paddling on calm water, almost as calm as what's right behind us here. But of course, they're gonna have to save a lot of energy and a lot of hydration for this last stretch. It's about, I would say, from here to Pua Point, about 1,000 yards, maybe further, 2,000 yards. And that's a lot of stretch for flat water after paddling nearly 10 miles already and having that pressure with people behind you, people in front of you, trying to give it your all, give it your best. There's going to be some out-of-breath folks up on the beach. Some racers are going to be putting it all on the line.
Yeah, definitely, especially after a fun downwind run. It's not fun to come turn the corner and have side wind or headwind in flat water.
Yeah. Yeah, so like we said, it's going to be kind of this race. It's interesting. It's in a few days, you know, of navigating different types of water surface, different wind directions. Like we said at Waimea Bay, there's that offshore wind that funnels through the valley. You know, working as a lifeguard at Waimea Bay, did tons of rescues where people were on their floaties, blown straight out, and we had to go paddle out and retrieve them because that little pocket right there, it's kind of got its own little sub-climate.
Yeah, and that's a good point, how you bring up the different conditions of this race. You know, this is a downwind run. These guys aren't on traditional downwind boards, you know, for that exact reason. So all these guys are riding they're all-arounders. They're typical sprint race boards, 12.6s, and that are good in kind of everything, downwind, sprinting, flat water. So, yeah, you're going to need a board that does all those things because, as he said, I've seen 3-4 different kind of situations out there already.
Yeah, and I think the last one, I know they're not looking forward to, but we are, the finish right here. It's going to be all-out brute speed with paddling that's going to be determining the winner. Right now, it looks like Mo Freitas able to hold on the first so far. Kai Lenny right there with him. We got Riggs Napoleon, Jensen in the mix as well. As you see that shot of Pua Point, some surfers out there in the background going over and through waves. catching little waves, a little surf lesson action going on right there. And it's Rocky Cannon and up here in our beach booth right here in front of Surf and Sea. One of the best places to come check out anything you need for the beach. The big yellow building, a full-on landmark. You know, my first job when I was 7 years old, Dave, me and 4 friends, and Joe Green is around here, the current owner, and he was the owner back then. So cool of a guy. We used to come here, pick up trash in the morning. He'd give us like $4 each, and it took us, you know, we'd blaze around here just grabbing all the trash and take that straight to the arcade that was down the street. Of course, that was summertime, no waves, keep ourselves busy, but, you know, the entrepreneurial spirit was born young inside me, and the work ethic. I was down here, you know, cleaning the beach for Joe Green and cleaning around the shop, just do anything to, you know, buy a shake, go play some games.
I love that. Not a bad way to make an extra buck cleaning up your beach. So nice work there, Rocky.
Yeah, you know, Joe Green was so gracious, and I was through another friend who was like, hey, we can go work, you know, we can make some money. And it was legitimate. So it was thanks to Surf and Sea, and come check them out for anything you need. Of course, come check out Turtle Bay Resort on the other end of the North Shore for everything else you need also. We have all of your activities as we see some stand-up paddle action. Kai Lenny now inching ahead. So they are going stroke for stroke. Mo Freitas and Kai Lenny. Kai was at our talk team Nash on Wednesday night. Said he had some really, really well-designed boards by Robbie and the team that they've been working on for years. Just trying to make something, like you said earlier, the all-arounder, the something that can ride a wave, something that's going to really blaze through flat water, the tails that will really give it, you know, the lift and the acceleration you need to do well in racing. And you being a board designer yourself, Dave, I'm sure you've seen all these latest innovations.
Yeah, for sure. Board design in SUP is just, it's so fun. You know, it's just so exciting right now because it really is. Every few months, it's changing, it's evolving. And, you know, you're seeing guys make specialty boards now, you know, boards that, you know, maybe just sprint really fast, but they'd be terrible in the ocean, or, you know, vice versa. And so to make that all-around board, you add all those elements from all these specialty boards into one, and that's what they're trying to accomplish.
All right, so they're outside Lonnie Akea, passing Lonnie's into the final. Just giving an update to the beach with our live beach microphone. We got some of the supporters and spectators filling in here at Haleiwa. And Dave, really looking forward. The suspense is building.
Yeah, I mean, great shots right there of Mo and Kai, you know, just battling it out. And, you know, Kai looks a little stronger at the moment just from those clips. You know, what do I know? But just the body language, you know, Kai, I think he senses blood. You know, he just looked real confident and going for it. But maybe this is kind of Mo's little section where he's kind of, you know, finding his calm, cruising. You know, not cruising, but, you know, just kind of waiting to strike. So just from the body language right there, did look Kai was really strong, but Mo was right there, glide for glide.
Yeah, you're exactly right. It didn't look like Mo was panicking that Kai had passed him, because you know these guys got peripheral vision. They're able to see them, especially when they're side by side and a little bit ahead. So Mo had to have seen Kai come up past, but he didn't even get in a panic mode and use valuable energy in a wasteful way. Right, he just wanted to hang up. He knows this last stretch is going to be the grueling, pounding stretch where it's going to be all out sprint as hard as you can into the wind on flat water, and really going to get to the core of the sport and really test them athletically. They're going to test them mentally and also emotionally. You know, these guys got a lot at stake, so you know they're paddling for some cash. They're paddling for prestige. You know, their sponsors. Everybody's going to be watching. watermanleague.com. It's live all over the world. So a little bit of pressure and emotion is also going to come into play.
Yeah, for sure. And there's another live look from the boat. So you could see just how close Mo Freitas and Kai Lenny really are. I mean, they're right next to each other. And, you know, they're both doing a great job, man. You know, this downwinding and bump riding, it's more of, you know, it's not a flat out just dogfight. It's more of going with the rhythm of the ocean and then making your moves, you know, with your strength in certain times. So right there, like we were just saying, we left the last shot with Kai in the lead. The shot now, Mo's in the lead.
Yep, and Mo pounding away and has a quick look back at Kai Lenny. Trying to get on that little bump right there. Riggs is in third. Look at Riggs is right there too. So we got 1, 2, and 3 all in frame. Great shot from Stu on the boat for the Waterman League. For those of you watching on watermanleague.com, first time ever we're bringing you live footage from the ocean in a long distance race. That is due to the great work of the league. And also mahalo to our crew that's out there manning the boat and driving them around. It looks like Kai Lenny was able to slingshot back into the lead. So it is a back and forth battle between Kai, Mo, and Riggs.
Yeah, Kai able to get a little gap on these guys, but how killer is Riggs right now? You know, we weren't even talking about him a few minutes ago, and there he is. He's in second place. This is the part of the race where you start, like you're talking about, the mental part of it. You know, this is where you have those mental games. Like, you know, at least for me, if it came down to this right now, in my head, I'm telling myself, how bad do I really want this, you know? So these guys, it's gonna come down to who wants it the most right now, being this close together.
Yeah, and you know they all want to win. That's their competitive drive for even participating in an event like this. There are no age divisions. There are no different size of boards. There's no. It's all 12-6 female, the best in the world, battling out, and Riggs is right on the tail of Kai Lenny.
So cool to be able to watch this go down, man. Riggs is just paddling incredible right now. You could see he was just like right up to Kai Lenny's tail. And he's right there. He's in the mix now. So currently it's Kai Lenny, Riggs Napoleon, and Mo Freitas is in the mix in the top 3 right there. So cool to watch.
See Kai getting a bump there, just kind of standing straight up, using that time to relax his paddling muscles. And that's what is neat about this stand-up paddle race downwind, is you do have moments where you can sort of relax, and like Kai is doing right there. But there are also moments where you have to really pound it out, like when they round Pua Point and head in to this little Haleiwa Bay, Haleiwa Harbor here. It's going to be a test of will, strength, and conditioning once they round Pua Point. We'll get an update of exactly where they are, and we got the team working on that right now. I can tell you where we are. We're in the blazing hot studio here on the beach with the Waterman League, and they're in front of Police Beach right now. So That's the area we talked about where they do a lot of lost filming. There are literally no houses in front of that area. It's kind of a preserve area. So Police Beach on that camera shot right there is actually just around the corner to the right. So they'll be approaching Puna within, I would say, 10 minutes. We could see our first guy making an appearance. But that's the part that's going to be interesting, Dave. We talked about it. The angle coming in from Puna. It's shorter to take the inside course, much more hazardous with large breaking waves, slower and safer and longer to go on the outside. But it's going to be a decision that I'm glad I don't have to make right now.
Yeah, and there's a shot on your screen of Mo Freitas and Riggs battling out for second place right now. Kai Lenny able to extend his lead. He's got a decent little gap on these guys right now, but as we've seen, in just a matter of minutes, it could flip. But currently it is Kai Lenny in first. I would say tied for second, Mo Freitas and Riggs Napoleon.
Yeah, and it looks like they're literally just a couple of minutes away from Puna Point. So you can see Waimea Tower, the church tower in the background. And just from me being on the ocean for so many years, looking at the distance, I would say they're just about to hit Puna Point. Just got word they're less than a mile from Puna Point, heading towards it. And the big question is what route they're going to take once rounding Puna Point. The quicker, inside, riskier route, or the outside, safer, but longer route.
Yeah, and as I look over our shoulder, Rocky, there's still plenty of swell, plenty of waves coming on hand on that corner. So will be interesting to see what they do. You know, like we were saying, oh, looks like Riggs taking a little spill right there, but able to get up quite fast. So that is Kai Lenny in your screen in first place, and you saw just outside of the screen taking a little spill was Riggs Napoleon. Got up quite fast, so I don't think it's going to hurt him too bad. But Riggs and Mo Freitas at second spot.
Kai Lenny looks back a little bit just to see who's behind him. We'd like to thank you for joining us on watermanleague.com. We're bringing you live coverage from the water for the very first time during a long-distance race. So making history with Turtle Bay and the Waterman League, bringing you the Stand-Up Paddle World Series Finals, day number 1, long-distance racing from Turtle Bay to Haleiwa. And they are almost finished with the course, approaching Puna Point as they still are battling the downwind elements. But once they get in here, Dave, you can see behind us extremely flat water in the harbor area, a little bit of offshore wind. It kind of does its own little swirly thing in here. So it's going to be very different conditions than what they're experiencing right now.
Yeah, and if they're able to keep together close, we will have a nice finish in the sprint. We'll have to wait and see if Mo Riggs can reel in Kai Lenny just a bit. And we'll see what happens when they get through those waves right on your screen. We'll see if they cut the corner and try to get through there.
Yeah, those are some pretty big waves, especially for stand-up paddle racing with 12.6 race boards. So Kai is in the lead, rounding point a point. We'll see if Riggs Napoleon breaks off and shoots for that inside shortcut. He's kind of the guy who's in the top 3 right now with nothing to lose, everything to gain if he makes it clean. Just for you and your family. As we look at point to point, a lot of surfers catching waves in the foreground. We'll see if any of our paddlers venture into the wave action for a possible shorter course, but a lot of danger as well. And we're looking to our screen, the same screen you're watching on watermanleague.com, and there is a paddler. I see an upright paddler towards the left-hand side of your screen, a dark shirt paddler, and I believe that's Kyle Lenny. And Riggs looks like he's pulling the inside hat trick. At the moment, there's a lull in the surf, so that could help him get the shorter course, but he better be on the ready for something coming, Dave, because he is in a hot zone right now.
I hope he's doing what we think he's doing, Rocky, because it looks like Kai is in the lead. He's looking at a wave, it looks like, at least from here, and then Riggs is out the back. So there we go. There's Kai Lenny right there catching a wave.
Wow, so Kai is up and riding right through the surfers at point to point. I believe that's Mo Freitas coming through. There's Riggs on the inside. Jake is in 4th. So there we see our top tier paddlers coming in. All 4 guys getting waves through the surf zone at Pua Point. Kai Lenny in 1st. I think it's Riggs and Mo battling for 2nd. And Jake Jensen in 4th. And they're going to come in here and hit this in out there. How many of you guys are cheering for Kai Lenny? Yeah. Well, here they come. Stroke for stroke. Looks like Kai's got a few board lengths of a lead. And wow, as they get closer, you can see every stroke is just laborious, somewhat painful. You can imagine from Turtle Bay with waves, downwind, but also some crosswind at Waimea Bay. A lot of cross chops as down the coast.
It was definitely not easy, but never is.
Right on, and man, we had such great footage from the boat. You know, you guys are really battling out, Mo and Riggs and everybody. Such a killer race. So, I mean, when you're coming through the end right here, we were all wondering, oh, well, are they going to take the inside line and go around? And, I mean, you caught 3 or 4 waves right through that whole section.
Yeah, I caught a bunch of waves, but, you know, I kind of broke away, and I'm like, okay, cool, I can just kind of, you know, power on in and not have to worry. And then all of a sudden, Riggs out of nowhere catches the one from, like, the point, and it just connected all the way through, and I was just watching him, like, catch him. I'm like, oh, no, this is going to be a sprint till the end. But, yeah, it was sick because these 2 guys really have stepped their level up. You know, they're not just the kids on the tour now. They're kind of, like, right in there. I mean, every event, it seems like they get better and better, and it's awesome for the sport. And it's good for me and everyone else because it's a little push.
Yeah, no doubt. And we did see your first wave you caught, and you had to pull out. Almost looked like there's kind of rocks in the way or something, and then you're kind of in the impact zone, and then Riggs got that wave. So.
Yeah. No, I almost hit. I didn't almost hit a rocks, but I was like trying to get as many waves as I could just to break it up. It was enough, and I was like, oh man, I'm kind of ahead now. But then, yeah, Riggs got that really good one and sent him all the way. It was like the miracle one. It was just a swell going in the middle of the ocean and just wouldn't stop. It was epic.
Yeah, we saw that. I was hoping. I mean, truthfully, I was hoping. But just moments ago, Kai Lenny taking this distance and a solid place for Riggs. Just seconds. Catching a killer wave out the back, able to close that gap. And then Mo Freitas holding on to third. Awesome coverage of this distance race from the crew on the boat. Indeed, that does look like Jake Jensen coming in. He will be your fourth place finisher. So Kai, Riggs, Mo, and Jake. Jake Jensen, fourth place.
Yeah, here comes Jake. Give it up for Jake Jensen, you guys. Strong showing here for day number 1 of the Stand-Up Paddle World Series Finals. And once again, please join us tomorrow at Turtle Bay. All the action will be at the point. Short course sprint racing should be exciting. In and out through the surf. And we got Casper Steinfath. Just behind this gentleman in the blue. And that's Tito. Fiona Wild is actually on the screen that we're watching on watermanleague.com, and she is in the lead for the women. So with Angie Jackson and Lina Ogatis battling, Fiona Wild sneaking up as Casper comes through. So that rounds out our top 6 for this long distance race. So that's Fiona Wild battling outside Pua Point, and she will be making the round for the final leg. Heading in, little catching of a bump right there. Angling more towards shore. And then there comes Waimea in the background, the church tower. You can see that little white speck against the green landscape. And as Fiona makes the turn towards shore, realizing that it's almost finished, Dave.
Yeah, this is a solid race for Fiona, you know. Just coming off a great year for her. And to come to Hawaii where everybody wants to test themselves in these conditions. You know, great race for Fiona.
Yeah, just you know, like we said earlier, we met her last month at Huntington Beach. That was the first time I've ever heard of her, and she made a great showing on the podium a few times for the different events that we had there, the surfing and the racing, and now making a trip to Hawaii. And I'm not sure if she's been here before, but she's got to be excited just to be here competing.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, every competitor dreams of coming to Hawaii, you know, and it always is, you know, one of the biggest tests is if you could do good in Hawaii. And so for Fiona to come here and do so well, she's got to be stoked. And, you know, her downwind skills that she's gotten from growing up in Hood River, Oregon, obviously coming into play. And that was, as you see, that's Eric Terrien from France coming into screen as well. I believe Eric will be finishing 7th place. Still lots of waves in the foreground there. Curious to see if any of the women go for it. Looks like Fiona has a decent lead right now. So we'll see if she risks it or goes around. As you see Fiona on the screen right there on that dashboard. As we got more men athletes starting to trickle in. Not sure who that is quite yet. You see some more riders in the background riding some waves, so a lot of the guys opting to catch those waves in for that advantage that they get for the free ride in, and then coming across the bay right there. As we saw Kai and Riggs actually take a higher line, these guys are riding the waves all the way in and then cutting across. So you got one of the Fanatic French team riders crossing the line right there. See some more athletes. Looks like see Arthur Daniels. Looks like Kaeo Abbey right there as well. That looks like Artur right behind him.
All right, so we just switched up our audio a little bit to improve the sound quality, and it's Rocky Cannon here with Dave Bainey watching the live finishing action on watermanleague.com here at Haleiwa for the long distance race, Turtle Bay to Haleiwa. And Dave, we talked about it being grueling. I would like to talk to some of our competitors and just see how grueling this last part was, because they're coming from a downwind run where you're kind of catching waves and able to relax a little bit, to a part where you cannot stop paddling because it's flat water and kind of offshore.
Yeah, no doubt. Guys are definitely beat down. They're coming to the beach dry. You know, they're sweating dry. You know, it's hot out there. A lot of wind. And as you can see, Jacko right there, one of the most fit guys on tour, I would say.
Oh yeah.
You know, definitely looking like he's hurting a little bit, you know, and rightfully so. That was a tough race.
Every athlete on this stretch, including our winner, Kai Lenny, everybody who's hit that inside part, every stroke has just looked so laborious and somewhat painful. As we see Noah Janela coming in. Gotta say aloha and how's it to the Koyo Ohana, who is watching out in PEI, Prince Edward Island, in Eastern Canada, and was able to hang out with Connor in Toronto recently. That was actually last weekend. That was last Saturday night we were hanging out at a wedding that was there for, but it's cool to see him and have fun, cutting the rug as more finishers approach the final shoot. And that is Dylan Frick from South Africa on a grueling run of downwind paddle. You know, we say downwind, but there were at Turtle Bay, for one, the starting point, the northernmost point of the island. That's where we get a lot of headwind, a lot of strong wind, so cross chops too. So the balance comes into play a lot, the core strength. You do get a lot of help paddling downwind. We saw at the beginning of the race, a lot of bumps to catch. And then you get into the Sunset Beach area, the wind dies down a little bit. It gets a little bit calmer there because you're kind of in the protection zone of Sunset Point and VLAN Point. So that part of the area gets a little bit harder. And then you get to Waimea Bay where that offshore wind funnels out of the valley and you get some crosswind. So these guys and girls have been in all kinds of elements on this course.
Yeah, for sure. When Kai came in on that quick little interview, he did say, right where you're saying, right around Waimea Bay, it was basically a right side paddle. You know, mostly the current was pushing that way, so he had a paddle on the right side for most of the way back down here. So, you know, when it gets elements like that, it's hard, man. One side can lock up, and
right.
These guys,
and you have no choice. You can't do the other side if you got a crosswind because it'll turn your board totally out to sea.
Yeah, you have no choice. So a lot of guys will paddle, you know, and actually go the wrong way. So when they do switch, they at least get a couple of, you know, strokes on this side to right the ship, and then they're back there. So
we got Zane Schweitzer coming in.
Yep, Zano.
But yeah, so after passing Waimea, then you've got, you know, the constant battle of the surf and the conditions out there. But those little pockets of subclimates on the North Shore really do affect your strategy. Like you said, paddling on one side or the other, and then coming around Pua Point through the surf zone, very extreme. Only the top professionals are recommended to do what we just saw.
Yeah.
And the last stretch of flat water offshore, they've just been thrown a mixed bag of conditions today.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, you know, today, like we were saying, I think the inside line was the line today after Turtle Bay because the wind was blowing you out, so you saw those guys pretty close to shore. And when they wrapped around that corner, they were in the spot to catch that wave, and you saw Kai, he rode 3 or 4 waves into the lineup.
Yep.
And he did say, though, that he almost thought it was a mistake because Riggs caught that wide one and actually passed him, but he was still further out, just the angle coming in. So
right.
It makes for an interesting finish. I like the new finish line here. It gives that element right at the end. So what a cool race to watch and what a cool ending. And I'm stoked for someone like Riggs. You know, second place for him is insane.
Yeah, excellent. I had to walk over and give him a personal congratulations that it was his very top performance, you know, of his career. It's a big moment for him to be in second place with all of these guys, and that's Fiona Wild, who is currently in first for the women. So here we are talking Angela Jackson, Linda Algaitis, and the dominance of Annabelle Anderson in previous years, and then here comes Fiona Wild, place with a big lead with nobody around her, and she is going to probably seal this up. And what a great finish for the Oregonian from Hood River.
Yeah, and Fiona, you know, that's kind of been her MO all year. You know, Surf Tech Shootout earlier this year, which kind of surprised people too.
Yeah.
You know, people who didn't know she could surf as well as she could, and she did well in the race as well. And then, like you said, Huntington Beach, the last event we were at, surprised us as well on the surf with her skills, and she did good in the race too. And then really been her year. You know, she won breakthrough performance at the SUP Awards.
Right.
And here she is, the first day of the Stand-Up World Series, Turtle Bay, and she's going to win the distance race. So Fiona Wild is here, Rocky.
She is the real deal.
She is the real deal, and it's her coming out party, man.
Yeah, and so stoked to see her finishing strong here in Hawaii. I know it's probably her first time. Dominating, there's not a girl in sight out there. And look at her finishing in first place. Awesome job. So we are going to sign off for the moment right now. We're going to be taking you guys to Turtle Bay tomorrow for the short course sprint racing. It's going to be super exciting. Waves, wind, carnage, success, all the above is going to be happening at Turtle Bay tomorrow. And we do want to apologize for the audio technical difficulties that you experienced today. The visuals were awesome. Historical day for the Waterman League and for stand-up paddle racing in general, showing you live coverage from the water. And it was kind of a give and take. We had to take those visuals because we wanted to show you what was happening on the water as these guys and girls are competing. So tomorrow we'll be back up full steam on all fronts. For Dave Bainey, I'm Rocky Cannon, the Waterman League and Turtle Bay. Aloha, have a good afternoon or evening wherever you may be. We'll see you tomorrow. Mahalo.
Right on.